Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Welcome to Entrepreneurs and Leaders, and today we have a speaker training based in Australia. So Miroslav, share with us what are the 5 steps that the entrepreneur should be doing out there to start the speaking business?
Yeah, it's a great question to jump into with Harry. I think the first thing people need to realize as an entrepreneur is how speaking fits into their business. A lot of the time I'll have entrepreneurs say to me, I'm kind of curious about speaking, but I don't see the point. And for me, it's like the first step, if you will, is just recognizing how much it can add to your business without taking much away. Like understanding why to take the journey in the first place, because it can be really easy to talk yourself out of it otherwise, or let other things get in the way, because speaking is such a massive fear for people. Or even if it's not a fear, it's an inconvenience. It's like, oh, if I say yes to this, I have to think about it. And like the amount of money income you can generate and the amount you can save on marketing costs if you incorporate speaking is huge.
Absolutely.
But people that aren't inside the world don't readily see that. They're like, oh, it doesn't fit in with what I'm already doing. So the first thing would just be the self-education, really getting clear how it fits in the bigger picture of where you're going and what you're creating. The second thing is don't fall into the trap of memorization. If you're memorizing on stage, it's going to sound like like a high school rehearsal. Like people can tell when you're in your head reading compared to when you're actually speaking. So what I say for people is the second step, get yourself on as many different stages as you possibly can and get comfortable with different audiences and get comfortable being yourself on stage. So don't let yourself practice in front of the mirror and your first speaking gig be one where you have to, perform, because that's just way too much pressure.
Mhm.
So speaking isn't something that you can refine in front of a mirror. So firstly, get in front of
I agree
audiences.
100%.
Secondly, it's kind of like playing tennis in your bedroom. It's great, but the wall is only going to hit the ball straight back to you, which is the wall, what the wall or a mirror will ever do. An audience isn't like that. They're going to respond, they're going to ooh, they're going to ah. So as you're taking these steps and exposing yourself to new audiences, learn to engage with the audience. And you'll find as a speaker, there's in the early stages, 2 levels. There's people coming up to you and saying, yeah, thank you, that was a really nice talk, very interesting, which is okay. Like it's good to get that feedback. But it's very different when someone comes back to you and they're enrolled in your idea. So that third step for me is like, can you move towards enrollment? The example I often give, if you want to save the oceans and you're talking about, we should stop eating a particular type of fish, we should stop catching sharks. It's one thing for people to come up to you and say, that was great, thank you for sharing that, compared to saying, I'm going to stop eating fish now. Like now we have enrollment. Now that for me is like, you're not going to nail that in those early stages, but you want to start thinking about not just did I survive the experience, but what do I want my audience to walk away with?
Yeah.
The fourth step for me is reflection. If you're doing reflection while you're getting on these stages, you're going to build your skill set a lot quicker. And if you have reflection from someone else that's gone before you, a coach, a mentor, a trainer, at least a speaker buddy, they're going to help you see your blind spots a lot quicker, and you just improve dramatically more when you have that second pair of eyes. And the last one I would say is be very proactive. People have this dream. I know I had this dream when I first started speaking, that I'm going to wake up in the morning and my inbox will be full of people asking me to speak. And it doesn't really work like that.
Oh, no.
The best speakers I know, like the top performers in Australia, they're all continually doing reach out, continual marketing, continually putting themselves out there. And that's like something you have to accept at the early stages. Unless you're a celebrity, get comfortable with having the conversations with people around how you can bring value to their stages. And that just has to be a continual for everything else to work.
Yeah, I think that's amazing what you share with us, and let's dig deep into this, because a lot of entrepreneurs, yeah, they always say about, most of them, yeah, they say, well, I don't want to do public speaking. It doesn't fitting what I'm doing right now. But the truth is that it's the fear what is on the way. Because honestly, one of the fastest way to grow any business is from the stage. Yeah, we train and teach that around the world, and you can take your business from local to global really, really fast if you speak and share about your business on the stage. However, we discovered that the reason that people don't do public speaking is because that fear that you just shared with me, like, probably the biggest fear in the world is the public speaking. And in UK, where we base in London, they do surveys and people prefer to die right than speaking public. And so where this source come from is, let's be honest, yeah, everybody have this fear of public speaking. Is something that every single human being have, and the reason for that is very simple. When we are kids, our parents are telling us, don't go and talk to strangers. If you go to talk to strangers, this is bad. And it's so embedded in our unconscious mind that we don't even know that it's there, because it has been seeded from the people that we love the most, which is our parents, our protectors. They are telling us that this is bad to speak with the strangers, because and now you go in business, which you have to do a lot of selling or public speaking. I mean, in business, you need to speak one-to-one several times to make your first sale. But now, public speaking, you need to speak not with one stranger, we need to speak with hundreds of strangers at the time. So that accumulating fear is what is stopping the most entrepreneurs. So, Miroslav, what the process or what message do you have for entrepreneurs out there? They are missing opportunities, they're missing the chances to grow their business just because of fear.
Yeah, I think there's multiple elements to this. One of them is recognize how quickly you build trust with people when you're on stage. To do that for ads, you're going to spend a lot of money. And I know because I run ads as well. But it's like you need these multiple touch points. And to start with, people don't care when they first start seeing you. So I don't know what the latest research is, 7, 8, 19, 20. It doesn't really matter. It's a lot. And it feels like it's just going up yearly now, where it's like, oh, you need even more touch points. What I've found on the stage is people get to know us really quickly, especially if we're willing to be ourselves, like I mentioned before, and not just going to repetition mode. And from that trust, you can be making sales almost straight away. But there's two really clear values here for me. One is you can leverage stages that already exist, conferences, other people's stages, associations, whatever, where your people are already hanging out. Now, if you think about this, I don't know, let's say you want to work with school principals. For you to do direct outreach and contact 100 school principals is going to take a lot of time and probably a lot of money, let alone getting the contact details in the first place. If you can speak at something like an association for school principals, you've got direct access to at least 100 of them on the spot, and you've built so much trust that they're likely going to tell their friends about you as well. Whereas if you're just another person they meet inside a long string of things, that's easily forgotten. So I often say to people when I first started running events, like free events that anyone can come along to just come and experience what I do, the marketing budget to put 100 people in the room in Australia was about $10,000. Now I'm like, consider that when you go and speak on someone else's stage, like you're getting thousands of dollars worth of marketing that's been done for you, and you just get to deliver who you are, what you're passionate about, and how you can serve people.
Yeah, I think that and goes a little bit more complicated because, for example, we also organize events all over the world in Singapore, Dubai, United Kingdom, Mexico, and Peru. And this is something more more complex to that because, for example, I personally don't put anyone in my stage that I haven't listened to speak before. The reason for that is because, again, what you just said, the marketing budget for this type of events I mean, 10,000 to put 100 people in the room sound about right. Yeah, that's more or less similar budget that we can put in that it takes in pounds, United Kingdom. However, after you spend 10,000 pounds in marketing, yeah, probably United Kingdom is way more than that. Yeah. So after you have these people, then you want the people of the on the whole event to have an amazing experience, right? And you want to capitalize on the audience the most as you can. Now, if you put someone to speak that doesn't have experience and doesn't know what they're doing, they're gonna have a huge impact in the whole event because the people will leave. Because I don't know in Australia, but in London, a free event, still people are giving you the weekend, they're giving you the time, which is really, really valuable, despite that that event is free. And if you don't provide an amazing experience for that audience, even if it's free, you will you you won't make it today too. And day one, after launch, the room will be empty, right? So it get more complex, yeah, in terms of what is this transition to become a speaker. Everyone, a lot of people start for the misconception. Oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a multi-millionaire. You should put me to speak on your stage. It doesn't matter how successful or how wealthy you are, if you don't have the right training, and you cannot speak. Because you can without knowing you can have a really high negative impact on the event. So I think that on the other hand, like you said, there are audiences like associations, like charity, like school, well, where people can practice. Everybody can be a public speaker. Yeah, is I always share with people is a skill base. It's not a talent base. If you're a singer, you have talent. Yeah, public speaking doesn't go in this category. It's a skill base. The more you practice, the better you become. Yeah, I think when I do this conference in front of 2,000 people, after I finish, everybody's telling me, Harry, you're amazing. You're the best. I love your speech. It's so inspiring. And the only thing that I'm thinking is, well, you don't know I have done this 1,000 times. So I'm not good because I'm good. And I'm good because I've done it so many times that you you develop the skill, right? This skill, which is exactly what we're sharing. One thing is speaking, the other thing is enrolling, the other thing is how to persuade your audience so your audience buy into your product, buy into your idea. So I think that there is one exercise that I do in London that describe and articulate clearly what you just described. I think that when we have a small events, 300, 500 people, I always ask the audience who's scared of public speaking. Remember, around 80% of the room raise their hand. The other 20% are so scared that they don't even raise their hand. I always pick like 10 people, put them on stage, and say, okay, fine. Tell it to their audience. What's the name of your dad? Tell them what is the name of your mom. Tell them what is the name of your daughter and how old is your daughter. And when I ask this question to everybody, all of a sudden, everybody that is terrified about public speaking, they are actually speaking really confident in front of 300 people. And I'm saying, how come this fear just disappear overnight? Yeah. So there is not such a thing as fear of public speaking. I think that the people there are speaking confident because they know that no one in the audience can challenge what they're saying. They know very well what is the name of the daughter. They know very well how old is the wife. They know very well of the topic that they are talking about, and they know that no one in the audience can challenge that. That's why they are speaking freely. They're speaking powerful, regardless that they have this huge fear of public speaking. So I think that we need to start, Miroslav, to share with all the entrepreneurs or everyone that is missing opportunities there, that if you know your topic and you're certain that no one in the audience can challenge the topic because you know very well what you're talking about, I think this is have a very positive impact to uh, to encourage more people to do public speaking. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so. There's two layers for me. Yes, I do agree with you. When people know their topic, it's so much easier. And I think a lot of the unconfidence comes up if people have to speak on a topic they're unsure about. And
Mm-hmm.
increasingly, I've also seen like people speaking about AI saying, I've been asked to speak about this, Miroslav, but I'm scared because I don't know everything. And I'm like, you're not going to know everything. Like, even if you're creating this stuff, you're not going to know everything. That's how quickly it's moving. And I think certain
About
aspects like
AI, yeah, absolutely.
you're just looking at where is the audience and can I support them to go to the next level? Do I know more than them to be able to support them? And actually just having the confidence, if you don't, to point them in the right direction and say, this is where you can go to get more information, as opposed to feeling like
Mm-hmm.
you need to
Mm-hmm.
have every single answer on every single thing about the
Absolutely.
topic.
Yeah, that's very important. When let's talk about that. I think that you touched a really important point, right? When we do this conference eventually, where we travel around the world, we constantly ask them to the promoter, tell us, tell us about the audience. They say, no, you have to do a talk in the university. And there are university students, and we asking to the promoter, there are university students, what? They're in the first year, they are in the fifth year, there are boys, there are girls, are there engineers, are there lawyers, what they studying? We need to know all that. Because the more we know about our audience, the more we can address the speech. I always share, don't put whatever you want to say in front of whatever your audience needs to hear. And is that information that sometimes in some countries when we speak, it comes to us really, really detailed and with enough time in advance. There is another country that will speak that actually we find out 100% who's there when actually we arrive. But as a speaker, you have to be able to switch and to be flexible, and also to learn how to read the audience. I think that biggest problem that we have in public speaking is that people spend a lot of time practicing the speech, practice what they're gonna say. And I put an analogy, it's like when you drive in a car, some people drive in a car, they're speaking on the phone, so they're doing two things at the same time. This is how your speech should be. Your speech should be something that comes naturally to you, even if you're not thinking about why, because your 100% of the attention has to be in the audience. You have to have like a second layer, deep understanding that when you're talking, you have constantly had to be looking at the audience to see if they are engaging, to see if they are participating, to see if they don't have the phone, to see, because if at the moment that you start to speak and you see them that they're talking among themselves, they have the phone, they think there is something going on, and you have to be able to read that room very quickly and address the situation. The easiest way is to ask a question. Okay, what do you think about the topic? What would you like to learn? Yeah, sometimes when the audience, you start to talk and the audience a little bit dispersed, just by simple tricks to ask few people in the audience what they would like to learn about what I'm covering today, the audience start to guide you. Okay, this is what we love to learn about this, we love to learn about that, and you are like, huh, that's interesting. So sometimes I do talks and I have a PowerPoint presentation prepared. and sometimes I do the talks and the PowerPoint presentation. Actually, I never show it because I start to speak, the audience start to interact, we start to ask questions, and I realize that this audience, they don't care about what I prepare. They want to learn something else. And you have to be able very quickly to articulate what they want to learn and deliver the best in your ability. So now this comes with a lot of practice, and this is Miroslav what the biggest problem is, right? You have to become a very good public speaking, you need to, exactly as you said, to try to speak in as much stages as you can. On the other hand, you have the event organizer, the event promoter like you, like me, that spend minimum 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 to fill the room. And you don't want to put in an experienced speaker to address that audience, because even if one speaker doesn't perform effectively, can have an impact in the whole event, and people literally will leave. So how what do you think that can be done in order to help people to grow into becoming an amazing speaker without jeopardizing the quality of the events, or the event promoter that put a lot of time, effort, energy, and money in order to fill that room, which is actually is not easy. Is
Hard. It's
well,
hard.
it's expensive, yeah. And now after COVID, even way more expensive, yeah. It used to be expensive before. Now I don't know in Australia, but in UK is a joke. The how much is costing to fill a room, yeah. And also hotel prices went way up after COVID. So the whole industry now is in a period that if you don't have 100% accuracy the event you're running, you might lose a lot of money trying to do an event, right?
Yeah, completely. I mean, it's a high risk game event, and it's not for everyone, that's for sure. I mean, what to speak into here? I think if we're looking at it from an event promoter perspective, like that audience experience is paramount. But I'm gonna assume most people that get to that stage, they already know what they're doing. No one is throwing, hundreds of thousands of dollars into an event unless they've gone through the initiations to get to a point where it's like, okay, this is how we're going to create it and this is what we're going to do. To people that are starting out earlier and thinking about doing it and maybe haven't gone through the initiations, a few of my tips are don't put your friends on stage unless your friends can fucking speak. Uh, having having a room full of friends that are amateurish speakers because you like them is not a good experience and it's going to hurt your brand. Like
Yeah.
people are going to, if Todd Barry runs an event and he has all his friends on there, the people are going to remember that Todd Barry event was shit, even though they might not remember the names of all of his friends that spoke. So it's like you're putting your name on the line and you really want to
Oh
be careful
yeah,
who
I have
you
this
share that
rule.
with.
I have this rule. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire. It doesn't matter who you are. If I haven't seen you speak before, you're not speaking my stage. This I can tell you, guarantee. It doesn't matter that you come with the best CV of the world. I at least on my stage, it's no way.
Yeah,
It's too
understandable.
much on the line to take this risk. Yeah,
And is it enough for
I'm
you?
telling you
People
because I've
send
done
you
it before and I
video?
paid the price. I'm not telling you like
Yeah,
this is an experiment or I had to make this rule because it happened to me. I train a lot of speakers and sometimes at the beginning they were not ready and then I put them on the stage and I saw the impact and I saw the faces of the audience and I'm like, oh man. Uh, but on the other hand, if you cannot create the space, because that's the other thing as well, who's gonna give them a stage if they don't know how to do it? But I think what you spoke is very valuable. You can find, I don't know, you can find association, charity, I don't
and
know,
also like
other
what I'm a
events that
proponent here for is speaker trainings. Go to a speaker training where you can
absolutely. Let's
and
start with
go to
that.
one where it's experiential. I've been to speaker trainings where you sit there and listen to the speaker talk at you for 2 days, and I'm like, this isn't a training. I don't know what this is. The presentation about speaking.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. This is something. This is where what I say in my workshop. This is a speaking workshop. This is not a listening workshop. In the
exactly.
if you're gonna and this is a very good context. When we do this kind of workshop specific, when people train and they speak. Um, uh, I have one now in October. 26, 27 of October in London, the section of the Speakers Alliance workshop. And what we do there, we we put a bunch of people there and we actually train them. But the whole workshop is about practice. It's nothing about Harriet. Just teach, and they go and practice, and you teach and they go and practice. So we start to put in the mindset two things. Number one, that the clients need to understand that the more you practice, the better you become. Yeah. And if you have a mentor, you have a coach that can be with you in this process and giving you feedback every time that you speak, every time that you practice, that's gonna get you there faster. The second thing, something that you talk about, that you're 100% right on this one. Practicing from the mirror is might help you to know your speech. It might help you to with your vocal variety. It might help you with the body language. But this had nothing to do to speaking in public, because again, you go there and you're gonna give your talk like you're speaking in front of the mirror, or like you learn this speech by heart. But you know what happened is that in that process, you won't be able to read the audience because you're used to speak in front of the mirror. So you're gonna throw a lot of content there that you don't even know that these people want to hear, because until you don't go to that stage and you start to speak and you see people nodding and people smiling and people agree and people have some fun participation while you're doing what you say, you have a big risk to bore your audience, and you have to be able to very quickly to come back from that. So practicing is the key for that. So Miroslav, do you have any program or any structure in place where your clients, they actually can meet you, can practice often? We run every month. I think we did something amazing. We create in COVID the motivational speaking context. I think we created the first motivational speaking context online in the world. Yeah. But you know what happened? We were training those speakers for the context. We were training everyone every week. Everyone was training. So of course, when the competition arrived, the speeches that were good, yeah, I won't say amazing, but they were good based on the amount that they practice, and everybody show up and compete. But they have a previous intense training, because there is people think that speaking from the audience is easy, and it is easy as long as you have a lot of practice and you learn how to persuade that audience. But honestly, the really good speakers, I don't know in Australia, but in UK, I can count you with my hands. Top performance speakers. So what message do you have for the people out there that they go and tell you, okay, Miroslav, I'm really wealthy and my business is very good, so you should pay me? Look, because I hear that a lot of people tell me this, and they tell me, Harry, you should pay me to speak on your stage. And I'm asking, should I pay you to speak on my stage? So how many times have you spoken before? Where have you spoken before? No, I never start to speak. I just want to talk about my business. But because I'm very successful in my business, you should pay me. If you pay me, I speak in your stage. I'm like, man, I don't know, but you have this all the way around. It doesn't it doesn't work like that. In fact, I can get any speaker in this planet on my stage without paying them. And I'm not saying that for saying. It's actually, we've done it, and we have created events in London with the best speakers that worldwide recognized speakers with millions of followers, people from the Maritime, from the movie The Secret, and so on, celebrities. And so what message do you have for those entrepreneurs that have this misconception that they think, okay, I never spoke before, I don't need training, and my business is good, you should put me and pay me on your stage, And what would you say to these people?
It's like anything. Get to know the industry you're stepping into. Like speaking is an industry. There's ins and outs. It's like rocking up to the Wimbledon with a tennis racket and being like, "Let me play." It's
I
like you might
agree
think you're good,
100%.
and yes, you can hit the ball over the net or whatever, but it's like we're talking about a whole different game. And speaking for me is similar. You have speakers, you have amateur speakers, you have professional speakers, you have, keynote speakers and even keynote speaking and platform speaking, it's a very different game. So like
Absolutely.
just because someone is even a polished keynote speaker doesn't mean that they can platform speak and vice versa as well. So like firstly for anyone thinking about stepping into it is get to know the industry. And if someone's promoting an event, the only reason they would pay a speaker is if it's going to bring more people into that event, like essentially. So if you're a Richard Branson, of course you're going to get paid,
Yeah,
if you've got
absolutely.
the level of pulling power, because that's going to work for every other speaker on that stage because you're going to be the one pulling people in.
Mhm.
But otherwise, I mean, there's basically
Mhm.
most that's been done in
Who's
the
gonna come
world.
to see you? Yeah. Nobody
Exactly.
knows you in the first place. Yeah. So yeah, and exactly what you said. It's like stepping into Wimbledon and say, "Let me play." It doesn't work like this, and we find. Uh, I think that entrepreneurs or people go to an event, they see people speaking, and they say, "Wow, I want to do that," and this is easy, and I deserve to be there. And without knowing the mechanics of that event, and the mechanics is that the promoter, the events organizer, they take a huge risk creating this event because, as you share with us, and it's totally true, is extremely expensive to fill that room. And once you have that room under your brand, you want everybody sitting there to have an amazing experience. And the only way that you can have an amazing experience is if you have good speakers.
Mm.
I think that Lily and I, we do the talks, my partner, and people go to our events. Sometimes our speakers, multi-million speakers, they're asking me, Harry, how you guys are filling this room? I just don't get it. And I said, people just come to see Harry and Lily. What can I tell you? Is something that they come to see us. We have of course, we have been doing this for so long to the point, same like you, where we are professional speakers, and we know how to handle the audience. We know how to entertain the audience. We know how to deliver the content in a way that they can digest that content in a way. In fact, our workshops are from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., 2 days in a row, and people don't want to leave the room. We have to tell them, go home. They're so excited. And we only give them half an hour to eat, and I don't stop. Yeah. Whoever wants to stay and don't eat can stay, or eat there in the room. I don't stop. So we create this massive workshops on purpose, so they can get the most of the most, and they get immersed in this in this empowerment context. And because they are also speaking, they are also participating, everybody goes into a hype that after 11 p.m. we finish, they don't want to go home, they don't let me speak, let's sleep either. And on Sunday the same thing. So the but the other thing is that the power of that, yeah, I know, that they also have a speaking hour stage. Amon, for example, which is an international speaker, he's based in US, he has all over 200 million online. And Armand almost closed 1 million in 90 minutes in Wembley Stadium. Uh,
Mm.
it was like $990,000, almost very close to a million,
Wow.
in 90 minutes. Yeah. So, and that is the power of this. Yeah. That actually, when you get to that level of top professional speaker, and you know how to speak with the audience, and let's tell you what you were saying, to enroll the audience in your idea and in your product and in whatever you're selling, you can actually close almost a million in 90 minutes. Of course, 50% of that goes to a promoter, so this is how the industry works, but still, okay, let's say 500,000 in 90 minutes. How many people can make 500,000 in 90 minutes? So public speaking is the most powerful skill that human being can have, full stop. And
Exactly.
you can see, that the people that they are great public speakers, they are, when we do our workshop, it's really strange because when you see the room is full of religious leaders, entrepreneurs, lawyers. So the audience is like that because all these people have only something in common, that they speak in front of large audiences, and they have to persuade that audience. People need to buy into the idea or into the product that they are selling. So it comes to a second layer, like you're talking about public speaking, which is actually what we specialize, which is in influencing the audience, right? The persuasion speech. Yeah. Because this is where entrepreneurs can capitalize. Because an entrepreneur, to be a motivational speaker, well, it doesn't set them so well because you don't you cannot promote your business, you cannot promote your product. If you do a motivational talk, at least maybe people might buy a book. But if you really want to grow your business, you really want to take your business to six figure, and you really want to take your business from local to global, like we did with the speakers and leaders, you have to be able to take the speaking to the second layer, which is how to touch, move, and inspire the audience and influence that audience so they buy into your product, into your idea. And look, for example, I don't know if you saw the last debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump for the U.S. campaign. And what happened is, when the debate started, Donald Trump showed really strong, and then the other candidate, Biden, was mumbling, couldn't answer the question straight. Guess what happened? It's not running anymore. You see, when you're not able to, it's already guys have been replaced because there is no way. If you cannot persuade the audience to buy your idea, they're not gonna vote for you. However,
Yeah.
if you're a great public speaker, you can win elections. You can you can make things that are not possible even with money. I remember the last time Donald Trump, uh, a candidate against Donald Trump put 1 billion against to compete against Donald Trump for the race, and he couldn't beat him. And Donald Trump told him, Donald Trump told him, you thought that was easy, that you're gonna put a billion and beat me. It takes more than that. What he was saying, and this is my opinion, regardless the political inclination, he's a great speaker. He knows how to address the audience to whatever he's saying, made them feel. I think he used humor, which is something people like, people with good sense of humor, and people resonate with that. The other great speaker was Obama, right? And Obama get voted twice. And I think that if you check the record, I don't think that his achievement as a president, this is sometimes some people said that was not as amazing as other president, things like that. But however, he's a great speaker, great communicator,
He's known for that as well.
amazing, and people love him. People love him. So this is a skill that when you master it, you can achieve the impossible. So what tips can you share with our audience, what they can do in order to master public speaking?
Mastering is a big word. So my premier program is called Mastery. And what I often say to people is mastery is a lifelong pursuit. And if you're willing to keep leaning into this, you're going to keep learning for the rest of your life. And everything you learn
It
about
never
speaking.
ends.
Exactly. And especially with something like speaking, at one point I realized, and what I tell people now is speaking is not just what you do on stage. It is it's a tool you've used to create everything in your life. Your relationship, your money, your finances, how you get along with your children, if you're fulfilled sexually, whatever, like all of this is a result of speaking. It's your ability to communicate your desires, your wishes, your influence on the world, and be met in that, and hopefully have harmonious relationships that lead to fulfillment for both parties. But it doesn't happen without speaking. So I'm like, it's the most important skill set we can have. And the people that really master it are the ones that you see doing really well on stages. People like Obama, where he can communicate at a very deep level to many people at once. And even with what you said of Trump, a very different speaker. And I would say, regardless of whether a person agrees or not with his political views, he knows what he's doing, and he's not, there's no second guessing himself. Like, he's extremely powerful with what he's doing on stage. And for me, the takeaway here is, like, recognize, as you said, it's going to take practice. But what you're practicing is the most important skill set you're going to have in life. That's going to show up even
Mm-hmm.
if you want to work as a job, not as an entrepreneur.
No.
If you want to lead, you need speaking. So it just feels like an invaluable thing to invest in, to refine, and to keep refining, because the more articulate and precise you can be with the way you communicate, the more influence you're going to have. Whether that's to get people to work for you, to get promotions, to build joint venture partnerships, it's like everything hinges on our capacity to speak, to build trust, and to create win-win environments for each other.
And at the end of the day, I agree 100% with you that, that fear of public speaking is showing up everywhere. It's showing up, like you said, in your relationship. It's showing up in your work. It's showing up in your bank account. Because that fear is there. And once you break through that fear and you start to speak, you empower yourself. You start to emerge more powerful, more certain, and we have an implication in your business. We have people in our workshops. We have one attendee that she was selling yachts, yeah, and she hasn't sold yachts for 3 years, and then she got to our workshop for 2 days. She was speaking on stage 4 times. She got really empowered. Then on Monday she goes to work and she sells 6 yachts in one shot.
Mm.
And
Okay,
and
not surprised.
and they're calling me like, and like that we have hundreds of stories after people attend our workshop. Harry, you won't believe I quit my job, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or I sold this, and we have this amazing story. And what happened is that people have a huge breakthrough, and after this fear is gone, um, they start to find the real power within themselves, and and the people that decide to work on they experience something new, and I think that this is the I think the most beautiful thing in the world that we do, because um, we're dealing with the biggest fear that that a human being can have. But at the same time, if we manage to create the framework and that person uh, break the fear and start to talk about themselves, to talk about the story, to talk actually about the business, and is almost it doesn't even have any logic. Someone that is in business that will tell you, where I'm in business, but you know what? I'm scared of do public speaking, or I don't want to do public speaking. It goes against the business nature, because as an entrepreneur, your role is to tell you to share your product with as much people as possible. And if you have a stage full of people, and all what it's gonna take for you to address that audience is for you to get into training, for you to have a mentor like you, uh, and help them out to get to that journey, and they can end up well trained, because this is also possible. I've done it. We've reached over 1 million people in the COVID, talking a lot about the fear of public speaking, and we have done several workshops internationally in this topic. And I think that when if an entrepreneur doesn't want to become a public speaker to expand the business, I don't think they should be in business on the first place. because it's like Elon Musk is not gonna tell you, "Oh, I'm scared of speaking," or Richard Branson is not gonna tell you, "I'm scared of speaking." All the greatest entrepreneurs, they are great speakers because, and that's the other thing, that when you become a speaker and you can talk and persuade your audience, then a transition go within you and you become a great leader. When a leader is someone that when they speak with their audience, the people buy into their idea, into what are they selling. Every time, that's the other thing, entrepreneurs don't want to be speakers. Well, every time that you're on a stage, you're selling either a product or an idea. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're selling your product, how are you gonna come and say, well, I don't want to become a speaker? Well, it doesn't, you know what? If you're so scared to speak in public, your competitors are not, and they're taking a huge advantage. So, Miroslav, so what's your view on this? Do you think that all entrepreneurs should be doing public speaking, or you think that that whoever doesn't want to do it, that's okay, and they can try to expand a bit the business doing something else?
Well, I don't feel like they all have to do it. I mean, we might disagree here. I think it would be good for all of them to do it. And I think for the ones doing it, they probably don't know how much influence they're leaving on the table
Absolutely, exactly.
doing
It's
it to a
gonna be a
certain
longer
degree.
path, yeah.
But I'm like, it's so valuable for everyone. And some of the clients I've had CEOs that have come to work with me, and they basically said, like, look, I need to speak, but I don't like it. I can see I'm avoiding it. I can see the team isn't enjoying when I'm speaking. Can you help me? And it's like, yeah, of course I can help them. But sometimes, those people will come back and say, like, yes, that was great that I could do that in my company. And then I also had like, I don't know, a funeral pop up out of nowhere, and I had to speak at the funeral of a family member. And it
Mhm.
was such a relief to be able to take the stage and be fully confident about what I wanted to share as opposed to dreading it. And I'm like, that's the thing. It's like it just allows you to be yourself in more situations that you didn't have access to. And it takes a lot of energy to be avoiding those situations as well, which when it opens up, it's like you can be more present with people. You can see what they're experiencing because you're not in your head wondering about your own insecurities and whatever else comes up. And often, like the other thing is, like I found out as well, the woman you just mentioned about the boat, people will have a breakthrough in public speaking and then they'll come back and say something completely different to me. Like my relationship with my father just got so
Mhm.
much better. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
because you're opening and expressing parts that were stuck before.
Mhm. Yeah. And then the other thing is, like, like for example, one of our client is a CEO of, when 300 supermarkets, right? And then of course, if at the beginning he was speaking, and people were falling asleep. And
Mm,
but you know what? He came to training. He literally take a private plane and come to see us, and took the path and received a lot of training. And now time to time he's sending me the picture, and you can see people clapping at him. And now
mm,
something that at the beginning he was a little bit, shy. He didn't want to do it. Now he actually enjoying, and he's actually sending me the stuff and telling me, Harry, look, the people crazy clapping about what I'm saying, and so people, he actually find himself, because there are true leaders, but it's that training, it's that practice, it's that techniques that they have to develop, that the faster that they do it, the more they can engage the audience, because as we shared before here, it's not a talent base. It's very, very simple. The more you practice, the better you become. And with Pauline speaking, there is no other way around. There is no secret sauce. There is no special mentor or special coach that can make you speak amazing out of the blue. This doesn't work like this. You have to practice, and you have to practice from small audiences. And our first workshop, they were for free. And I remember that we didn't have so much resources, so we were doing our first workshop in a pub in London. You see, the
mm.
pub had the second floor, and then workshop were for free. And honestly, few people show up, like 7 people, 10 people. This is our first workshop, And we were doing that.
know those days as well.
We did that every week, and every week, six, 7, 10 people would show up, and we were running this workshop. I don't even remember the name. It was 15 years ago. But this is how we started. And this practicing and this delivering in very small audiences, then the audiences grew, and then it came from 10 to 100, to 100 to 200, 200 to 300, to 300 to internationally, and but it came with that practice, with that developing these skills, and in front of the audience. I think, like you said, even if these 7 people, 10 people, this is good for practice, because no one will put in front of 100 people if you haven't practiced a lot in front of 10 people. Because the bigger the gig, the bigger the event, the most expensive for the promoter. So the promoter, they're seeking for professional speakers to add to the brand, to the event. So Miroslav, is the people are listening this podcast are happy with what they hearing and they want to know more about your work, how can they find you and how the process work?
Yeah, beautiful. Easiest way to connect is social media. So Miroslav Bardovic, Miroslav Bardovic, Bardovic, on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the usual places. That's the website as well, miroslavbardovic.com. If you want to go deeper, my particular approach to speaking is using it as a path of authenticity. And a lot of this is outlined in my book, which I often send people as the first go-to place. The stuff I wrote about this book, I first wrote in an academic thesis. So I was researching a lot of my practice and what allowed me to create the results I did. And when I first wrote it down, I thought to myself, this is my secret. I can't show this to anyone. And then, I ended up writing it into a book, translating all the academic English into normal speak, so people could read through the book in 2 or 3 hours. And then I put it on Amazon. So I'm like, my greatest secret is out there in a book that you can get for whatever.
So what's the name of the book? What is it? Show it to us.
That's a good question. Give them goosebumps. Utilize the power of presence to own the stage of communication.
Oh, wow. I like the title. And it might be, people can find it where, in Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon, Spotify, Audible, all the typical booksellers.
That's fantastic. So thank you so much for addressing this topic and
for having me, Harry.
Yeah. And I think that, good to know that someone on the other line working on that. Very few people are working on this, because the people that have the skill, basically, they're more worried that they're just focusing on getting gigs and delivering speeches. But it's our mission to help people, and to guide them to the path, because as I really believe, is one of the fastest way to grow your business.
I agree.
Is to be a great public speaker. It will get you way faster wherever you want to go, and you will beat a lot of credibility that it will take your company to get to the next level really, really quick. So thank you so much.
Likewise, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And for all of you followers in Entrepreneurs and Leaders, see you in our next episode, how entrepreneurs have shared the amazing stories. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.